This is Russ Cosentino from Zoom Data with a sales presentation overview of the Customer Insights solution for churn analysis. Before we get into the presentation, I do want to highlight a couple of key objectives for this program. Our first goal is to present a vision for a modern Customer Insights program that can demonstrate the power of Cloudera and Zoom Data delivering an integrated solution that ultimately presents the case for moving more data into EDH that ultimately drives the sale of nodes for the Cloudera team. The Customer Insights solution is part of the value driver called Drive Customer Insights, and the use case/sales play is churn analysis. Now, this presentation is part of an overall program which includes a 15 to 20 minute presentation, which we'll talk about now, followed by a 20 to 40 minute demonstration. And the demonstration does highlight a fictional company that we've created called US Telco. There are multiple resources available to the Cloudera sales team for this program, and they can be found through the Cloudera sales portal by searching Zoom Data Customer Insights campaign material. The contacts for this program are Dan Wilson, dwilson@cloudera.com, and Russ Cosentino, russ@zoomdata.com. So we're now going to kick off the presentation and provide background on the slides to give you an opportunity to present them to your customers. The first slide highlights the Customer Insights solution, and what we want to start out by doing is presenting the benefits of the solution, which is to drive customer loyalty, deliver a single version of the truth, and help business grow its sales. But we also want to give an opportunity to highlight what's important to company XYZ. This is an opportunity for the salesperson to insert bullets that they've gleaned from talking to the customer. In some cases, it may be around identifying profitable customers, maybe stopping customer churn, and it may be also identifying targeted marketing campaigns. But what we want to highlight next then is how Cloudera and Zoom Data have strengths around a modern data platform and visual analytics, and how these two companies come together to deliver an integrated customer insights solution. It's important to also note that this program is just not a marketing scheme, but it's an actual program based on validated results. And what we like to highlight is the success that we've had between Cloudera and Zoom Data at Marker Study. The business problem at Marker Study begins with the fact that they generated 20 million quotes per day, and what they did not have was real-time access to the data. In fact, they were limited to only sampling the data, about 3% of the daily volume, and the reports were delivered via non-interactive PDFs sent by email once a day. The solution, which was put together by Cloudera and Zoom Data in a matter of 2 months, basically launched the Insurer Rating Hub, and it was a 10-node cluster and a Zoom Data server with the ability to ingest 20,000 messages per second. And from an ROI standpoint, Marker Study now is able to view 100% of the quote data. So they went from a 3% sample to looking at 100% of the data at any time during the day. They saved $7.5 million through better fraud detection, and they reduced churn by 50%. So these are validated results that demonstrate the power of the Customer Insights program. So let's jump into the use case now. And what we like to say is that there's 3 trends that are driving customer insights. First is data volume. We see that business is generating huge amounts of data, and the traditional SaaS models or one-dimensional systems no longer suffice. That's important for customers to deploy modern data stores to support this data volume. We also see customers selecting data tools that are based on the characteristics of their data. So that may include search databases, Impala, Kudu, or Spark. And it's important for customers to recognize that they have the power to select these different data sources, and it's important for tools like Zoom Data that can bring them all together in a single voice of the truth. And then finally, there's the velocity of the data. The days of the 24-hour reporting cycle are gone. People want to see data in real time, streaming, and available at any point during the day. And ultimately, both Zoom Data and Cloudera bring together a security infrastructure that takes the query to the data as opposed to moving the data out of the Cloudera EDH Enterprise Hub. Within a Customer Insights program, there are 4 key tenets. The first one is the information or customer data itself. What's important is to present a single voice of the truth for the customer. The next thing is the analysis and being able to deliver a framework that allows analysts to understand customer interactions and opinions that they have about your business or product. The next thing is profitability and being able to analyze who the most profitable customers are. And the last characteristic is churn, understanding who's leaving your base of customers and why they are leaving. We now jump into a number of slides that parallel the value sales play scenarios that begin with a before scenario. What was the system like before we deploy Cloudera and Zoom Data? And typically, we see data that's sitting in social media, CRM applications, transactional survey systems, customer support systems. And this system may be sitting on an island in a SaaS solution, or maybe sitting on an individual server, or maybe on-premise or in the cloud. But the thing is this data typically isn't connected together. It doesn't provide any sort of actionable insights. The metrics are unrelated, and it basically delivers an incomplete assessment of your customer experience. The next thing we'd like to highlight are the negative business consequences of this type of environment. We have high customer churn because we don't understand what's causing the churn, because we don't have an enterprise view of the data. We typically will have low customer satisfaction, or NPS, or negative brand image. That's primarily because we don't understand the market perceptions that people have about our business. And then ultimately this leads to lost revenue. Missing analysis of profitable customers means that we're doing more of the wrong things potentially, as opposed to doing the things that our most profitable customers want us to deliver to them. We then highlight after scenarios. So what would happen if, in the case of US Telco, we delivered a Cloudera and Zoom Data deployment? Well, first thing is we provide improved customer insights, where we have a proactive analysis of any customer data from any channel. So this is important to highlight, that if we have data coming from 10 different sources, one window can be presented to all 10 of those sources. We can also help to reduce customer churn and identify the profitable customers within a business. We also like to highlight some of the positive business outcomes from deploying a customer insights program from Cloudera and Zoom Data. The first is increased customer satisfaction and loyalty. The fact that we're able to bring all this data together in one view means that we can provide enterprise analytics and understand what is driving satisfaction and loyalty. There's improved cross-selling and upselling, because now we can start identifying what customer behavior is and how customers react to certain types of marketing activities. And ultimately, we're here to grow the business. So if we can do a bottoms-up accurate revenue forecasting, we can find new ways to decrease customer churn and provide a better return from campaigns. Some of the required capabilities for a customer insights program typically begin with this. We have all this disparate data sources sitting across the enterprise. We want to deploy EDH, which may include Impala and Spark and Search and Kudu, and we want to make all this information available from Zoom Data to report on. So the ultimate goal with the Customer Insights program is to deliver a unified data platform. We want to also highlight data freshness in real time to analytics, because as data is updated, it's instantly available for Zoom Data for reporting and analysis. And ultimately, we want to empower all users by providing an easy and intuitive UI. It can be embedded, or it can be as a third-party application. So the demonstration comes next. And we've broken the demonstration into 3 different storylines. There's an integrated view, which we want to present to the senior executive to show them the power of looking at all your data across the enterprise in one single dashboard. The next storyline has to deal with data discovery. So say we're an analyst and we want to do a deep dive on what's driving customer churn. Since we have access to all of this data, we can start doing dashboards and analysis of this data to get a sense of what's driving customer churn. And then the last storyline has to deal with real-time insights and social media analysis. And we're able to track social media as it comes into the business and understand those conversations and take action when they become available. So the next thing we want to highlight is the solution architecture. And this is important for us to highlight in the customer meetings, because it shows how these 2 platforms are integrated. And our basic premise is this, is that we have customers that have this data sitting across the enterprise in all these disparate sources. And we want to present a case to them that it makes sense to move all this data into the Cloudera Analytic database. And by doing that, this is going to ultimately drive more node sales for the Cloudera team, because more data is being loaded in here. But then the question that always comes up from a customer's perspective is, how do I take advantage of that data? Well, Zoom Data leverages Cloudera technology, whether it's microqueries or facets or unstructured text search or real-time analytics with Kudu. Zoom Data will highlight the power of Cloudera and help to drive the utilization of EDH. After we've completed the demo, we have the suggested next steps, which include a proof of concept or a pilot, the opportunity to schedule a business value workshop, or anything else that might pop up as a part of the conversation with your potential prospect. We provide a couple of slides that talk a little bit about Zoom Data and who we are as a company, and a little bit about Cloudera, and then that brings a conclusion to the presentation. In the deck that you'll see available to you on the Cloudera sales organization is some backup material, and these include pre-meeting discovery questions that will help you to tailor the conversation to your customer's requirements, as well as some information on Zoom Data, and in particular how to access the cloudera.zoomdata.com website. Also, the technical diagrams here, the demo architectures, are also available for plugging and playing, and you can see that we can select or change from an operational database to an analytic database to data engineering to a basic SKU. These are all available to be plugged and played into your presentation. So with that said, thank you for listening in on this sales presentation overview of the Customer Insight Solution. And if you have any questions, again, please feel free to contact myself, Russ at Zoom Data, or Dan Wilson, dwilson@cloudera.com. Thank you.